Hey guys, all right, welcome to the Freedom Achiever method. This is still phase one, mod three, known as the meeting. And we're going to get into a lot of very specific pieces that go into the meeting. We're not just going to have a quick class about having meetings. There's a psychology behind the sales, there's a psychology behind the conversations and things of that nature that I really want to put massive focus on. Again, I'll repeat myself. I've got 4 screens in front of me. You can see the reflection of them in here. And so I have notes on all the screens and the camera on one. So I'm going to be looking around and really kind of just pulling from this information, right? So up until this point, I've had you guys work on your contacts, mindset. Now we're going to go into conversations, the meeting, and the psychology behind it, okay? We're going to be digging deep into these, right? So first thing we're going to talk about is all of this. By the way, this is like mind-numbing stuff. This takes consistent practice. This right here is a skill. This is a skill that you're going to learn. You're going to learn it here at the Freedom Achiever method. You're going to take what you learned here and you're going to apply it to your everyday meetings. By the way, what we go over in this module could be used for basically any meeting. It could be a family meeting. It could be a personal meeting. It can be a business meeting. But the idea is that you have a systematic approach to the way that you handle your meetings, okay? Now, again, this is a skill set that we're going to pick up right now, but there are certain things that you need to understand right up front. First of all, let's talk about relationships. Because if you haven't figured it out by now, the entire Freedom Achiever method is based on the ability to create relationships. Without the relationship piece, the rest of the method falls apart, right? So having the relationship piece is the biggest, most plausible piece that you absolutely need. Now, I believe that there are 3 factors or 3 parts to developing a relationship. It's very easy. Sight, sound, and touch. Now, if I take this and I go, these are the ways that you build a relationship, and we come over here and we go, well, communication, how is that done? Right? How is communication typically done? Well, you guys can all agree that we either call, we text, email, in person, and now Zoom, right? Let's bring this up. Okay, so I'm going to draw some lines here because we're going to create a very simple understanding of why all these pieces are super important, okay? Now, if I call somebody, remember, in order for me, what I'm telling you is that in order for you to develop a relationship with somebody, you have to have sight, sound, and touch. That completes the spectrum. Each one of these is responsible for 33.33% of creating a relationship, which would be 100% connection, right? Now, what I'm telling you is that if you can prove sight, sound, and touch, the level of the endorphin that goes into creating a relationship is very different than somebody who only has sight and sound. You guys you know this. When you speak to someone on the phone, you feel a certain way towards that person. Never met to them before, you speak to them on the phone. If you happen to have a Zoom with this person and you see them and hear them, you're like a little more of a step up because you can put a face to a name, right? You can put a voice to a face. All of this stuff starts to come together. But when you meet somebody in person, it creates a different level of knowing. This person is real. This person is human. I can touch this person. I can shake their hand. And so when you call somebody, all you get is sound. When you text somebody, okay, here we go. Let's do it this way. I have a better way that I want to do this. All right. When you call somebody, all you get is sound. When you text somebody, you don't get sight, you don't get sound, you don't get touch. When you email somebody, you don't get sound, you don't get sight, you don't get touch. When you go in person, you get sight, you get sound, and you get touch. When you Zoom somebody, you get sight and you get sound, but you don't get touch. So here we go. X these out. X, 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 X. Looking at this chart right here, we can feasibly say that the best and most effective way to create a relationship is in person. In-person meetings will give you a leg up that you don't have. That is why when I look at real estate agents who cold call and don't really meet their clients up front, I let them know that yes, you can create a business, but you're not creating relationships. You're creating transactions. And so when we look at this chart right here, we're saying the most imperative piece is to go in person. But Dave, how do I'm not just going to show up to somebody and go in person. Of course not. You're going to make a phone call or a text or an email to initiate a Zoom or an in-person meeting. And sometimes the Zoom, we'll call it 4.5 or we'll call it 3.5. The Zoom is like the halfway, right? You know, like, hey, can we jump on a quick Zoom and I'll tell you about my company and stuff like that, right? Yeah, great. Okay, cool. But still, the Zoom should be trying to work towards the in-person meeting. Everything you do here, everything you're creating, the call, the text, the email, the Zoom, all of it should be guiding you towards an in-person meeting. But Dave, my person doesn't live in town. Cool, you have to depend on the Zoom. But don't they have to eventually meet you at some point? So you're still focused on creating the meeting. When are you going to be in town? When can we meet up and have a cup of coffee? Is this such a big fish that maybe it's worth you jumping on a plane to go meet them? Because you want to create this relationship at a high level? Can you imagine if somebody who's looking to buy a multi-million-dollar property lives in another state and you say, are you going to be in town next weekend? And they say, yes. And you say, I'm going to fly up. I'm going to be in town. I'd like to catch up and just have a cup of coffee with you guys and go over what your buying needs are down where I live. And imagine that person saying to themselves, wow, this person got on a plane, flew all the way over here and found it important and imperative to get in my face to meet me and my family in person. Do you think that person is going to work with you post that? Yeah, it's more than likely. Right? And so when we look at this, we're going, I got to make some phone calls. I got to make some texts. I got to send some emails. I get that. And potentially I might throw a Zoom in the middle if I can't get the immediate in-person meeting. But my goal, the money maker, is the in-person meeting. That's the money maker. By the way, if you're watching this training, it's because you want to grow your local market share. And so I know that some of you watching right now are going, oh, but you know, not all my people live in town. Yo, listen, break through the barrier, break through the glass ceiling, because you sell right in your backyard. And if you're selling right in your backyard, in-person meetings are something plausible that we can discuss, right? And so now, two pieces. Call, text, email is designed to get in front of everything that happens on that call, everything that happens on that text, and everything that happens on that email is 100% designed to get in front of that person. Once you are in front of that person, you have the meeting, call, text, and email are designed for follow-up. So it's not that these pieces are irrelevant, it's that they have their time and their place, and they're not designed to actually create the relationship. They have their place in the hierarchy, right? So I might call someone. I might call somebody. Then I might text them. Then I might send a video text. Then I might follow up with an email. And my entire mission in this entire process is to get an in-person meeting. That's my entire mission. That's my entire mission. So I get a lot of real estate professionals that come to me and say, hey, I do online leads. And how do I convert them? Best opportunity. Call, text, video text, email. In here, I'll include voicemail, right? So call, speak to them, or leave a voicemail. Text, follow up, video text, follow up, email, follow up. Listen, this is, hey, John, how are you? This is David. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. We have our conversation, right? Which we'll talk about scripts and stuff later. We have our conversation, and then we hang up the phone, and I send them a quick text, and I send them with a video, and I go, hey, I just want to put a face and name so you get to know me a little bit better. What am I doing here? I am going an extra mile so I can get sight and sound, so they can see me and hear me. I'm trying to level up the relationship as quickly as possible. I look forward to meeting you at 123 Main Street. Looking forward to this, right? If you're a title agent, I would be sending video texts as follow-ups all the time. Title agents, mortgage brokers, all of you guys looking at real estate professionals, teach them the game. Show them how this is done, right? Pick up the phone, you call them, you know, hey, John, I want to work with you, whatever your script is, right? We're going there. Then you hang up the phone, you send the follow-up text, you do a quick video. Hey, John, this is David. I just wanted to put a face to a name. I'm looking forward to having coffee with you next week on Tuesday at 12 p.m. So glad we were able to book that in-person meeting together. That took a whopping like maybe 6 seconds to send this video. Oh, but Dave, I don't like the way I look. Guess what, my love? That's the way you look all the time. Like you leave the house like this on a daily basis. I don't like the way I look on camera. Stop it. Stop creating barriers for yourself that are not allowing you to step up to the plate and move forward. Because that's what you're doing, right? Plenty of other people are doing video all day long. By the way, creating these videos might encourage you to do more marketing. And you do more marketing on YouTube and social media and everywhere else, they'll get used to seeing your face like that. Sight, sound, sight, sound, sight, sound. You 2/3 of the relationship in. When you get in their face, you solidify 100% in. 3/3 of the way in. That's 100%, right? So call, text, leave a voicemail. If you don't have a conversation with them, you leave a voicemail, right? Video text, follow-up email, just to follow up. Hey, here's my email address. I just want to make sure I follow up with you, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are like, this is overkill. No, it's not. You're hitting them from all angles because your entire mission is to get that in-person meeting. Hey, Dave, what if I called them and I was able to secure the in-person meeting? Is the rest of this necessary? Absolutely. There is no deviance to what we are doing here. Call, have a conversation. They don't pick up the phone, leave a voicemail. After your voicemail, send a text with a video, right? Written text with a quick video, send it out. Follow up with an email. Your entire focus, hey, when can we catch up and have a cup of coffee? And we're going to talk more about these coffee meetings in a second, okay? Now, moving on, let's get into some other stuff, right? And again, just want to show you this chart again. This right here is the money maker, baby. That in-person meeting, and that's what we're going to dig in hardcore on today. Okay, that's where I want you to have massive focus, is this in-person meeting. All right, so let's dig. By the way, this is one of my most favorite conversations because people don't realize how easy it is. I have asked you to split up the contacts that you already have. These are people in your sphere of influence, your power 8, right? The Dunbar's 150 that we've discussed. And I've asked you to split it up because I'm going to force you to call these folks and take them out to a cup of coffee. The point here is that these people, for the most part, already know, like, and trust you. So this is the easy bait. This is the easy business. This is how you fill your pipeline ASAP right away with the most business. Then new business begins to happen in different formats. And we'll get into that a little bit more. But new business can be found through other actions that you create, and new business will be found through the people that you connect with and remind them what you do for a living so they can send you referrals and do business with you. That's the key. That's what the meeting is for. Okay, so let's get into some essentials that I believe are super, super, super important. So some of these I'm not going to write down. Some of them I will. So discipline, habits, resources, skills, relationships, roadmap, and what I consider to be the freedom sets. The freedom sets are sales, marketing, communication, and personal branding. All of this followed by the 6 core principles. So let's dig into this. I said I wasn't going to write them down, then I turn around and write them down. Work with me, folks. What is discipline? Discipline is having the ability to listen to this class right here and then do the work necessary. That is discipline. Discipline is understanding that these pieces, these puzzle pieces that I'm giving you on every single module are going to be put together to create one standardized foundation for whatever business you want to create. The puzzle pieces are given to you so that you can put them to work. That is discipline. It is a requirement. So if you go days without meetings, you are not disciplined. If you wake up in the morning and you don't have your wake up routine and your morning routine, you are not disciplined. Have the discipline to create the next thing, which is habits. I almost forgot how to spell habits. The next thing that you're doing is you have discipline so you can create habits, right? And those habits are forming over time. That's why when we talked about waking up earlier in the day, we didn't say, you know, hey, if you're a 7 a.m. person and the time that we want to go for is 5 a.m., tomorrow wake up at 5 a.m. No, we said go 7 a.m. to 6:30, 6:30 to 6, 6 to 5:30, 5:30 to 5. Maybe you go 4:30 one day. Who knows? Maybe you love your morning time so much, you realize that you can accomplish so much in the morning before anybody ever wakes up that your day kind of ends a little bit earlier than most folks. And life in your business becomes significantly better. Just a thought. Resources. All right, so I'm going to stop writing these. Resources are tools that you have. The number one resources that we're working here is your phone, your contacts, your CRM, a worksheet, your ability to study, your ability to run off to go meetings, those, you know, a car, that's a resource, public transportation, that's a resource, finances to buy cups of coffee, that's a resource. Those are things that we expect for you to have. The skills you're going to learn while you're here. Skills are an important piece to this, okay? A lot of people go into business blindly. What do I mean by that? They understand what needs to be done. They understand that they've got to have meetings, but they don't practice the skill necessary to have effective and effective and productive and purposeful meetings. You need to have effective and purposeful meetings. If you don't, the meeting's a waste of time. Wash your hands with it. Don't even go. And so that's where we're going to dig into. Now, relationships, which we spent an abundant amount of time talking about. Roadmap, which we're building out now, which you've already started to build out in the last module when you started talking about where your plans are and how in your time frames that you're giving yourself. Okay. Knowledge, which is knowledge in the industry that you are in. Now, here's the crazy part. There are a couple of things I want you to understand. Knowledge is extremely important in your industry because you have to be able to prove your knowledge, right? But you don't actually need knowledge in the industry to have a great offer, a great pitch, and provide value. You don't need a huge abundant amount of knowledge. So many of you in the last exercise might have said, I have tremendous knowledge in my industry, which is an asset. And I understand that. And those are one of the 10 best things about you. I get it. But you don't actually need it, right? You can actually be super new to the industry and only have your pitch, your offer, and the ability to meet people and do it well enough to actually convert people into wanting to do business with you. And that would be sufficient because the day somebody raises their hand and says, I want to do business with you, then you go pick up on the people that can provide you the knowledge to take the next steps in your industry. And by the way, if you're watching this, I don't know if you're in title, I don't know if you're mortgage, I don't know if you're in real estate, I don't know if you're a car salesman, a plumber, a roofer, I don't know what you are. Whatever it is, the method is the same. You could know nothing about roofing, but if you could plan the perfect offer, pitch, and presentation, in-person presentation, you're solid. You'll get clients. And once somebody says, sure, I'll sign with you, let me get an $80,000 roof. You can turn around with that ticket right there, and then you can go get the help that you need to put that roof in place. Same thing for real estate professionals. A lot of realtors I meet coming into the game, or they're trying to step up to the luxury market, or they're trying to transition into commercial. They're like, I need to know everything about everything when it comes to this thing. And I'm like, no, you don't. You need to network with the avatar of the type of person that you want to work with. And when you figure out that avatar, you need to have a great pitch, a great offer, and a great presentation. Go do it, get a client, and then come talk to me about how we'll go through the process. Plenty of mentors out there, by the way, right? Okay, so that being said, we're going to get into the freedom sets real quick, okay? So this is what I call the freedom sets. All right, this is my little baby right here. My freedom sets are very simple: sales, marketing, communication, personal branding. So let's go. Sales, marketing, communication, personal brand. Now, some people look at this and they go, Dave, isn't personal brand completely tied to marketing, or aren't they the same thing? No, it's not. The difference between having a Nike swoosh and actually presenting the Nike swoosh to the world is the difference between a personal brand and marketing, right? So freedom, right? There's a difference between me just having a name and a personal brand and a logo, and taking it and marketing it to the world, wearing it, creating ads, pushing it out in front of people, creating word of mouth, creating advertising. Those are the things that consider marketing. Sales, this is my S. Sales is the pinnacle piece here. We're all in sales. I don't care if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a banker, a realtor, a lender, a title rep, inspector, a TC company. I don't care what you are. At the position that you're in, you are in sales because you need clients. And without clients, you can't do business. It's so simple, right? Without clients, you can't do business. So we're all in sales, ladies and gentlemen. And then communication. This is a big piece, right? Because in communication, if you don't have great communication, then the rest of this can go to hell, okay? If you don't have great communication, if you can't express yourself appropriately and communicate in a solid way, then this is not going to work out for you. So let me explain this, right? This is how I look at my freedom sets. I get a circle, and this circle is the centrifugal force, okay? I have my sales, I have marketing, brand, right? And communication. All very tightly close, work together. And so that's why I put them in a circle. In the middle of that circle, there is somebody. And that somebody is your client. And that client, they have your money. Right? That's something from Greg Cardone, right? Who has my money? Right? That client has your money. If you know how to sell, market, communicate, and have a personal brand to present, this person is more open to connecting with you based on your centrifugal force covering them. And if you can master this at a high level, the client will give you your money. They'll just give it to you. It's a given, right? And so when we talk about the meeting and the whole point, as we dig deeper into that, when we talk about the meeting, we're talking about having the ability to pick up the phone, communicate with somebody that we want to meet with them for a cup of coffee, build a relationship with them so that we can sell them and help them understand our personal brand through marketing. This is a win, by the way. I know a lot of you are thinking, what about relationship? You just said it. Where is it? It's inside here. Because that's where your client is. And that's who you're supposed to have the relationship with. Okay? All right, let's move on to the next piece. 6 core principles. All right, I'm going to go through this with you very quickly. Our 6 core principles are confidence, conviction, dedication, giving, respect, and spirituality. I'm going to move this over here so I can see it better. All right, so I'm going to share this with you, by the way, in school. There'll be the 6 core principles will be in there with explanation. So let's go. Confidence, belief in oneself, one's ability, and one's future, right? So again, going into these meetings, you got to be in ultimate confidence, which is tightly woven with conviction, right? So if you have confidence in yourself and confidence in your ability to have that meeting because you've been practicing these skill sets and understanding the method of the meeting, then you know what your future looks like. And then conviction is a firm belief that gives one the courage to stand behind that belief, despite pressure to do otherwise. Conviction is knowing that the product that you're bringing to the table is top notch. That's why I said confidence and conviction, they're both very tightly woven together. If I walk into a meeting, I am 100% confident in myself and my ability to help you, to coach you. And the conviction behind my program is like no other. I know this works. It's proven, right? And so dedication, the act of devoting all of one's energy, effort, and ability to a certain task. I dedicate this time to you, you dedicate to your clients, and so forth, right? Dedication is a big key to this, right? Because they're going to expect for you to be dedicated to your career, your path, your future, your family, and them. They expect that from you. And the crazy part is that they want all your time, but they still expect you to be everything else too. And that's what being in sales is about. Showing that dedication, giving, to present voluntarily without expecting something in return. This is a very important piece because a lot of folks, they will go have these meetings. They'll have 10 meetings. They won't get results. And they'll think to themselves, Dave, this doesn't work. And they'll say, I'm giving and giving value like there's no tomorrow, but I'm not converting. Well, we can look at it in a couple of different ways. Let's discuss your meeting and let's talk about how it goes and the method and the plan through it. And understand that you're not going to close everyone. If you have 10 meetings, you might get 1 or 2 referrals. That is why we have to do it in numbers. There's an abundance to this. And you have to have abundance mentality, not scarcity mentality. You can't be afraid of having a meeting because you might not get something out of it. That needs to go out the window. And you need to know that you're going to give and give and give and give before you receive anything. And you should be okay with that. It should be a part of your core principles. Again, giving is to present voluntarily without expecting something in return. Now, respect, esteem for, or a sense of worth of excellence of oneself and others. I don't really need to go deep into this, right? It's respect for yourself, which we will talk about in a high level, especially when we dig into time management and time valuement, okay? Respect for your client, treating them with the utmost respect, treating them and their teams and their families with the utmost respect, being at a higher level, teaching them the level of respect so that they give you the same respect in return, and respecting yourself enough not to work with people who do not respect you. Crazy thought process. I know some of you are going, I want all the clients. I don't care how they treat me. I disagree. Build a business that allows you to choose who you want to work with. Sounds good, right? Okay. Next piece, spirituality. That's completely up to you, right? So spirituality is a sense of awe, reverence, or inner peace, inspired by a connection to all of creation and or that which is greater than oneself. So connection to creation, connection to something greater than you, whatever it is. I know what mine is, you know what yours is. We can leave that alone, but spirituality is a big piece. You know, I often take time in the morning for myself to just be myself. What do I mean by that? It gives me an opportunity to just open up my mind and not be interrupted and think about a million things and be grateful for where I am in life and the things that I'm able to do and the lives I'm able to affect and the avenues that I'm able to do it in. All of those things matter. And so I think about them often and I often praise and I'm thankful and grateful for those opportunities. That opportunity of spirituality allows me to get through my day with a strong heart and allows me to bring a ton of energy and effort into these videos that I create, right? Like, think about this. Right now, I am literally speaking to no one. But I gotta bring the fire. I gotta pretend I'm in front of a million people. Because would you watch this video if I was talking like this the whole time? Probably not. You would lose your shit somewhere about the quarter of the way in. And we're only halfway through right now. So I would have lost you 15 minutes ago, right? Okay, so that being said, I'm going to put these 6 core principles in there, and that'll be for you to review at your own time and, you know, internalize them. Print it out, put it on your wall, but internalize them and understand them, right? So now let's get into the meeting. You're like, dude, the name of this thing is the meeting. We spent 30 minutes about talking about everything but the meeting. You're right, because if you don't have all of this, the meeting's irrelevant. If you don't understand all of this and bring everything else to the table, the meeting's irrelevant. So let's get into it. Someone who's very, very good at meetings, you've met them before, right? They sit in front of people and they're able to command the meeting and they really get through a meeting in a strong passion. You've heard these same people look at you and say, hey man, look, if you need help with it, just put me in front of them. You put me in front of somebody, I'm going to close them. You've heard those comments before, right? And so these are people that really have meetings super down packed. What's the number one goal of this meeting? Number one goal is simple. Number one goal. Notice I didn't say the number one goal of this meeting is to sell them something, or the number one goal of this meeting is to let them know what I do for a living, or the number one goal of this meeting is to make money from it. I didn't say any of that. What we said was the number one goal is a relationship. That's your goal. I'm sorry, this looks so bad. Let me rewrite this so you can see it better. Right? Number one goal is developing a relationship. Again, without the relationship, you can forget about everything we're building out today, right? So, hey, Dave, what about the sale? Well, it's easy. The sale is the benefit of the relationship. It is the consequence, right? The goal is a relationship. The sale is the benefit. The consequence is dollars and cents. Money, money, money. Closing deals, put money in the bank, taking care of your family, going on vacations, doing all that great stuff, reinvesting in your business. This is it right here. Number one goal is to develop a relationship. The sale is a benefit. The consequence is more income. I always use the word consequence because a lot of people like to give it a negative tone, but it doesn't have a negative tone. It is just simply the reaction to an action. So if I go into a meeting and I don't do a good job at creating a relationship, and therefore I don't get the benefit of the sale, the consequence is I won't make money. But if I focus on my number one goal and I create a great relationship with somebody and I gain the benefit of a sale, then the consequence is that I will make money, and probably in abundance, especially if this goes really, really well. So let's talk about this real quick. With our meetings, this is what I want you to do. So here's your crazy assignment. Okay, you guys with me? Actually, I'm gonna save the assignment for the end. I'm gonna tell you about it at the end. Let's get through the meeting layout first, okay? And then we'll talk about frequency. So, as a matter of fact, give me a second. I'm gonna move this around. Yes, I am like doing this in real time, folks, in real time. All right, so let's dig into the actual meeting, okay? Let's put some money in the bank. Right here, during that meeting, your client's going to come to you with a problem, and you are going to provide a solution in the process. There's a line between these two things, and that line is known as value, okay? So, problem, solution, value, which allows you to make some money. All right. Now, this is a very important layout right here, okay? Because when you have this meeting, you're going to have an opportunity to break down this meeting into segments that we will go over, okay? When we go over these segments, you're going to realize that the entire mission here is to provide value throughout the meeting, to develop a relationship, but provide value throughout the meeting that makes the relationship plausible. It makes it real. It makes it worth it, right? And so what you're doing in this meeting is you're listening to them for a very long period of time, right? And so what you're doing is you're figuring out with them, right? You're figuring out with them what their problem is throughout the time period. And then you're going to provide them with a solution. And that solution, imagine somebody says, I got a leaky roof. And you say to them, I know a great plumber that's going to give you a discount because I referred you. You have just provided them value. Somebody says, I need to find a house because blah, 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 blah. They tell you their problem. They tell you why they need to find a house. You have a solution. I'm able to find you that house because I'm skilled in blah, 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 blah. And then you have provided them value, which allows you to charge money for your value, which allows you to make money. There's a process through this because you have to understand that there is a why, a solution, and a value, and then there's money. And so what you're doing is you have folks that are here, okay, and they need to be here. And what you're doing for them is you're providing them a path to get there. They're trying to level up, whatever that level up means. This is now, and this is where they desire to be. And you are in charge of this line right here. And this line is your value line. And the value line is very simple. You're going to understand why they need something. You'll provide a solution. And in the process, you'll make some money because you gave value. Does that make sense to y'all? Like, I wish I could see y'all raising your hand right now or staring at the screen right now, because this is the whole meeting right here. And I'm going to break it down even more, by the way, but this is the whole meeting right here. The whole meeting is about you listening for problems so that you can provide solutions so that you can give value. Now, there are parts of this meeting where we're going to talk about the 80% section, which is RDEV, which is relationship development. Now, you ever tried expressing yourself about a problem that you have and somebody interrupts you in the middle of that expression and they tell you they have a solution for you? How annoying is that? Oftentimes, by the way, this happens with your spouse, right? You're trying to explain something about the house. Spouse says, dude, I hear you. Let's just get somebody to fix it with this, and that. And you haven't really expressed your entire sentiment about the whole thing. And so you're frustrated now. The reason that I give you this example is because when you have these meetings, it's very similar to those scenarios. Very similar to, by the way, being a therapist. You're a therapist or psychologist at this point, and we're going to couch this client. We're going to put them on the couch and we're going to allow them the opportunity to speak. And when they speak to us, they're going to give us problems. All people do. And we're going to listen for those problems so that we can continue to provide solutions. Those solutions will prove our value and allow us the opportunity to make money. See, they're going to say, I'm here right now and I desire to be up here. How can you help me? You're going to provide your value by understanding why they need it, giving them a solution, and then you get to close and make some money at the end. Okay, so now let's dig even further. Okay, right now we've got the breakdown of the meeting conversation. Okay, so we're going to break this down. This is the meeting. Meeting breakdown. Okay, the meeting breakdown is in 3 sections. Okay, 10%, 80%, 10%. Now, what happens in this 10, 80, 10? Okay, first one is catching up. So here, catch up. Here is RDEV. You guys will get used to my acronyms. RDEV is relationship development. And then at the 10%, you'll have OMP, which is your offer and pitch. Super solid. Okay. Now, this is why we were saying up here, not to jump into the middle of their problem conversation to provide solutions, because during that 80%, that's when that's going to be happening. And you want to wait till right around here to start pitching solutions. What does that mean? That means as you're running up to 80%, at some point you're going to have to provide a solution. Somebody's going to be expressing themselves to you. Don't cut them off, because if you attempt to provide a solution somewhere around here, you're going to cut their flow. And when you cut their flow, they'll no longer communicate with you in the same fashion. And so you'll break the flow of them having the opportunity to be couched, to be speaking to someone who they know, like, and trust, and have this ability to have a conversation with them, right? Now, catching up. Let's start from the very beginning. We always say 10% catching up because catching up is necessary. You're going to meet up with somebody. They're going to be like, hey, what's up? How are you? Nice to see you. How's your wife? How's your kids? Blah, 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 blah. That's your catch up part. That doesn't last very long, right? Like, you can only say hi and what's up for so long, right? Then there's RDEV. So in RDEV, this is how you're going to break this down. There's a couple pieces to this, right? All right. So one is what we call pooler questions. Now, you have to learn how to pull information out of people. These questions, we're going to put them in a group. So I'm going to create a worksheet here to give you sample pooler questions. Okay. Now, pooler questions are simple. How's your house? How's your neighborhood? How's your family doing? How is work? And then you have to learn how to ask these questions and then just not say anything else. Allow them the opportunity to speak and elaborate on everything. And when they ask you, how about you? You're going to say some things, but you're going to keep your portion very short, because you're going to allow them to speak way more than you speak, which is where you will learn to listen more than you speak. All right. You're going to learn to listen more than you speak. Okay. And additionally, you're going to agree and understand. Agree and understand. This is the funny part. I always talk about therapy, right? You ever go to a therapist and then you sit there, you see them in the movies. If you've never been to a therapist, you watch the movie where somebody's been in therapy, right? And what happens? The person's speaking. The therapist is like, yeah, totally. I understand. I can understand I can understand why you feel that way. That's your agree and understand portion, okay? And then you're going to learn how to finish with solutions and applause. Finish, solutions, and applause. All right, so what does this mean? Let's get through this 80% of the meeting, right? The 80% of the meeting, I don't care what you guys talk about. This does not have to be industry related. I don't care what you do for a living, okay? This does not have to be about your business. And as a matter of fact, it shouldn't be about your business. This should be about absolutely anything in the world. It can be about politics. It can be about religion. It can be about the streets. It could be about speed bumps. It could be about a new restaurant that opened up. It could be about the spouses. Like some people like to talk about their spouses, right? It can be about all kinds of stuff, or relationships. It would be about somebody you guys both mutually know that just had a scenario. It could be about absolutely anything. And so that's where relationship development is created. No one creates a relationship by listening to you for 80% of the meeting talk about how cool your company is. Nobody does. This right here is going to get you more clients than you ever believed in your entire life. So you get you more money, more closings, more everything, more friends, more family, more everything. This is abundance. Okay, this is working through abundance right here. This is understanding this at a very high level. Hey, how you doing? Let's talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. Let's just go in. And if you can't get them to speak, you better ask some great puller questions. And when they're speaking, you don't interrupt them. You listen more than you speak. You agree and understand throughout the process. You process what they're saying so that maybe at some point around here, right here, you can finish with solutions and applause. What is applause? Dude, you know, like, I understand where you're coming from. I think it's fantastic that you're going that direction. Dude, I have something that could help you with that. Value, right? And that's what you're doing. You're providing massive value. You're giving it to them. Value. Yo, check me out. I got value for you. And when that person realizes how much value you bring to the table, they now move you up the scale of value in their lives. Imagine, I got to replace my roof, man. I'm going crazy right now. Interview like 4 people. All these guys sound like scam artists. Yeah, totally. I can understand that. They're trying to charge me an arm and a leg. They want to run it through the insurance, but I don't want my insurance to go up, blah, blah, blah. Yep, totally. Yep. And then somewhere at the end, you go, hey, by the way, listen, dude, I'm so glad that you're trying to get your roof fixed because you know that could be a real problem. Applause. But check this out. I know this great roofer. His name is whatever. And I'm going to connect you guys right now by text message so that he knows that I referred you. And by the way, I'll push him to see if he can give you the best price possible. Response, dude, you're a lifesaver. That would be huge because I've interviewed 4 or 5 people, but the fact that it's coming from you says way more than me just trying to find them on the internet. It says way more than whatever Google says. It says to me that you know this person and you're referring them on purpose. Thank you for your help, which in translation is, thank you for providing value to my life. Did that roofing connection have anything to do with your mortgage business, your title business, your real estate business, your TC business, your inspection business? Probably not. Probably had nothing to do with it, but you provided massive value. And that allows you to create conversation, to create a relationship with somebody, to just shoot the shit. Because the next time you invite them out for a cup of coffee, they are going to accept the meeting because they understand that at some point you're going to give them an offer and pitch, but it's not going to be the entire conversation. They're not going to listen to you for 45 minutes of you telling about how awesome your company is. They're going to go for about 35 minutes of excitement, conversation, fun stuff, whatever, and they're going to get a 10-minute pitch probably, maybe even 5 minutes, maybe even 3 minutes if you could dial it down. And then we get to the final piece, and the final piece is the fun part. The final piece is called the offer and pitch. This is where you present yourself and what you do for a living. See, we have this understanding, or we have this misinterpretation. I don't want to say understanding. We have this misinterpretation that people are supposed to know what we do because they're our friends and family, and that is not true. It is our responsibility, it is our mission, it is our goal to consistently remind everybody that we know what we do for a living. It is not their responsibility to remember. It is our responsibility to provide the information consistently. That being said, we have to be in front of our friends and family, in front of our sphere of influence, in front of our Power 8, in front of the people that we know, in front of the people that we're connected with, consistently reminding them what we do. We also need to know our offer and pitch at a high level, so the next time you're at an event or a party or whatever, and somebody says, what do? You absolutely understand what it is that you do. I'm a realtor is not an offer and a pitch. I'm a realtor goes, cool. So are 2.3 more million people. You're just another one. It's not your offer and pitch. It's very different. Very different. If you say, oh, I'm a real estate professional, I help veterans get into homes. You know, they're so educated on the VA loan and everything else, and I make it my life's mission to ensure that them and their families are taken care of. Wow. Wow. And, by the way, didn't that sound better than I'm a realtor? Right? Or, oh, I work at a title company. I'm a title agent. Versus, I work in the title industry and I help real estate agents give their clients a really strong closing experience at the closing table, and we make sure everything is filed and taken care of for them so they don't have to worry about much. We like taking care of our agents. We like taking care of families. Doesn't that sound better than I'm a title agent? Right? I'm an inspector. Okay, cool. Or, you know, I get involved in the inspection of properties when people are purchasing so that I can inspect it for them and ensure that they're purchasing a good, solid, quality home. Give me the opportunity to let them know what's wrong with the house so they're walking in with eyes wide open. It's very important to me to help these families and ensure that they walk into a home knowing exactly what's wrong with it. Very different than I'm a home inspector. This is an offer and pitch, but it gets significantly deeper. And in the next module, we're really going to be digging into the offer and how to pitch it. And that's going to be a lot of fun. And at the end of this module, I'm going to give you a couple of assignments that I want you to do, or I want you to pay attention to, which will help us with the next presentation so that you have a better understanding of what we're walking into. Okay. Now, when you're at the offer and pitch stage, right, you're presenting yourself. And so what you're doing is you are either trying to get business from them or you're trying to get a referral from them. Those are the only two goals at that point, right? So I'm a real estate agent, veteran, blah, 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 everything I said a little bit earlier. Then I go, by the way, do you or anyone you know, do you know anyone that is looking for my service? Do you know anyone that could benefit from knowing me? Remember that uncomfortable closed feeling that I like to use, right? That's it right there. Hey, by the way, this is what I do. This is who I am. This is what I do. Do you think that you could benefit from my services? Hey, I'm a business coach and I help real estate professionals in all real estate industries add another 100K to their bank accounts in the next 90 to 120 days. That's what I do. Do you think that's something you could benefit from? It's not, do you think this is something you would benefit from because I'm really good at it, because let me show you my track record, because. No, it's, do you think that this is something that you could benefit from? Shut up. Allow them the opportunity to respond to your question. As many times salespeople will ask a question and then help answer the question. No, shut up. Ask the question and key, throw it. Lock it up. Right? Give them the opportunity to respond to you. That is known as the uncomfortable close. It makes people uncomfortable enough to need to answer you. It's my favorite close. It works every single time. Whether you get a no, I'm good, or you get a yes, I could, you got an answer, and it was a real legitimate answer. Followed by, cool, I can appreciate that. Do you know anyone else that could benefit from what I do for a living? Make them so uncomfortable that they go, yes, my cousin Vinny's looking for a house right now, whatever the case is, whatever it is that you do, right? My cousin Vinny's looking for a house right now. He could totally use your help, right? That's what you're asking for. You are looking to do business with themselves, right? Or you're looking for them to refer you business. That is the entire goal here, right? So, process. 1, offer. What is it that you do? 2, pitch them. Can I do it with you? 3, ask for business. 4, ask for referrals. Never, ever, ever leave this entire situation without getting there. Because if you do catch up and RDEV, which is relationship development, and you don't do O&P because you're too embarrassed to pitch yourself, this was a waste of time. Yeah, you got a friend and you reconnected with a friend, but you're not going to make any more money. And so our sole purpose of these meetings is to create relationships so that those relationships turn into contracts, so those contracts turn into closings, so those closings turn into money in the bank. If in case you haven't been tracking, we're going from contacts to calls, to text, to emails, to in-person meetings. The in-person meeting is designed to create a relationship that creates a contact or a contract that leads to a closing that turns into dollars and cents. It turns into money. It turns into commission. Are you tracking with me? Right? This is the process. This is the Freedom Achiever method. This is how we get this done. This is, by the way, we've discussed at a very high level the science of sales. We've discussed the science of communication. We've discussed the science of relationship building. And even now we're going to talk about some funnel stages. Okay? But this meeting breakdown, take a screenshot right now, because this meeting breakdown is a requirement of your understanding. This meeting breakdown right here, you need to have this very well understood. You need to know how to monitor this piece right here. Okay, this 80%, you need to know how to monitor this 80% at a very high level. Okay, and then once you have monitored this 80% at a very high level, you'll be able to create the RDEV portion that will allow you to lead to a comfortable O&P where people will feel blessed to give you their business or their referrals. They're going to feel excited about it. The reason they're going to feel excited about it is because they've created a relationship with you and you had meaningful relationship development, building conversations with them that allowed you to have a comfortable O&P, offer and pitch, that allowed you to feel in a good place when you were doing that, and allow them to feel like you didn't just meet with them to pitch them, but they're happy to give you some business. They're happy to give you some business, right? Okay, so as we move forward, We're definitely going to be talking about more in the science of sales and communication, relationship building, and funnel stages. But like, I want to dig into something real quick with you. All right. This is what I want you to do. This is the win right here. I'm gonna break it up. You know, as a matter of fact, let me get it out of the way. I want you to try something here. By the way, this is the method, so it's not, maybe I'll do it, or maybe I won't. Do it. If you don't do it, for the rest of this 90-day course, fucking waste of time, okay? So I want you to go 10 days. Book appointments. Okay? 10 days. I want you to have 20 coffee meetings. This is followed by 10 days of follow up on those 20 meetings. I don't know what kind of you that was. Follow up on those 20 meetings and book more appointments. Followed by 10 days, 20 meetings. Now, the way that I coach this is to have coffee meetings. Coffee meetings are very easy. A lot of people like coffee. You don't like coffee, drink tea. If you don't like tea, if you don't like tea or coffee, they sell water. You sit in that coffee shop. There's Wi-Fi there. People are comfortable. There's a little music playing in the background. There's a surrounding. There's a vibe. Utilize that vibe to create your relationship. Spend the next 10 days booking appointments for 10 days of 20 meetings. That's just 2 a day, by the way. It's not rocket science. This is 2 a day. 2 a day. If you want to, have 5 a day. If you don't get no business right now, you have no business chilling. So meet with 5 people a day. I don't care what you do, but at least minimum 20 meetings in those 10 days. Spend the next 10 days following up with the 20, creating more relationship development and business development, and then book for the next 10 days. Then 10 days, 20 more meetings. Break these down and then listen. This is a repeat. Just keep repeating this over and over and over again. Here's the key, right? So you guys, you take me out to a cup of coffee. You call me, and then during this time period, you take me out to a cup of coffee. We have a great conversation. I do business with you because you follow up with me on a consistent basis. You ask me for a referral. I introduce you to somebody else. You have 20 more meetings to book. Okay. By the way, this continues to happen, and you can't forget about the foundation. See, this is the one, this process right here is the one process that gives you more referrals than anything else. I don't care what you have out there. This right here will put more referrals in your pocket than anyone else. It'll give you referral pocket money like you've never believed in your life. And the key is to not forget about the foundation. So if you take me out to lunch, you ask me for a referral, and I introduce you to John, and then John introduces you to Jose, and then Jose introduces you to Susie, etc. And Susie introduces you to whomever, right? These coffee meetings, they should not stop with me or John or Jose just because you met Susie. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, you got to take Susie out, but you also have to take me out for introducing you to John. You have to take John out for introducing you to Jose. You have to take Jose out for introducing you to Susie. And Susie going to introduce you to somebody else, and you got to make sure you take Susie out for introducing you to somebody else. And the rhythm goes on and on. And what you will find is that at some point in your career, you will be having significant amounts of meetings that are consistently giving you business over and over and over again. This is the one thing that has no ceiling. You can buy ads all day long. The day you cut off the ads is the day that the ads finish. You could cold call FISBOs, expires all day long. You could cold call realtors all day long. And the day that you stop making phone calls is the day that those leads stop. But relationships are forever if you maintain them. And these relationships will continue to give you business because you can't forget about me because I introduced you to John. But you know what? I might introduce you to Jane now. because you didn't forget about me. And Jane's going to introduce you to, I don't know, Jack. And I don't know why I have so many J names, right? And so forth and so on, right? And so you're going to continue to build this out at a level where, by the way, there's no stop. It continues to rise. It is the one thing, referral base is the one thing that will continue to drive your business up nonstop, have no ceiling, never breaks apart. You could take a week off and still all these people love you and they will continue to give you business and it will drive you and it will drive you. But Dave, how am I going to have so many meetings when I got to put out fires and I got to do this and I got to do that? You're going to train your ops. You're going to train your assistant. You're going to train your team manager. All of this comes with time because you're going to create what is known as leverage at some point here. As you're growing this and making money, at some point you're going to say, whew, I need help. And you're going to buy leverage. Buy leverage means buy staff. Staff means assistant first. Staff means an operations section. Staff means a team manager one day. And you just keep rainmaking. You keep rainmaking. You keep bringing the business in that feeds all these people and pays their salaries. Let your assistant help put out fires. Let your ops team put out the fires. Let your team manager run the business. At some point, by doing this, you will get here. Do this, get here. Do this, get here. And you're developing leverage and you're growing and growing and growing. And you're growing a sustainable, strong business. Dave, what happens when I back out of the business and I wanted to keep operating, but I need to retire? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great problem to have. That's number one. Number two, your team manager throughout the process will be trained to meet with all your people as well. And they will become CEO of your business, God willing. And you will take a step back. You will allow the CEO or team manager, whatever name you want to give them, to run the business. You will teach them throughout the process on how to maintain the relationships with Jane, Jack, John, David, Jose, Susie, and so forth and so on. This is it right here. This is sales at its best. This is you at your best. 10 days. For the next 10 days, you're booking appointments. The 10 days after that, you're having 20 meetings. But it cannot be less than 20 meetings. It cannot, absolutely not be less than 20 meetings. 10 days after that, you're following up with those people and you're booking more appointments. 10 days, you're having 20 meetings. You consistently repeat this until your business just doesn't want to be in business, like until you retire, until you're done, or you decide to shut the doors. I don't know what it is, or maybe you hit the lotto. I don't know. But this right here is the method and the key. The meetings is where you need to be massively focused. And you're going to say, but Dave, I don't have time for that. You better find time for that, because there's a difference between time management and time valuement. What does this mean? Time management means I fill in boxes in my calendar and I do what's in those boxes. Time valuement is the boxes in those calendars have to be MMAs, which are known as money-making activities. If the boxes in my calendar are not money-making activities, then they're not providing me value. Therefore, they are just time management, and I'm not getting this done because I'm too busy doing shit that doesn't make me money. Or I'm an admin when I should be a salesperson. Or I'm doing operational stuff when I should be a salesperson. Okay? Time management, time valuement. We're going to have a separate video on this for you guys, and we'll talk about it as well. So I'll just write this here to remind myself. Okay? We're going to have a separate video specifically on time management, time valuement. This video is going to be shorter. It's going to be quick. I don't want it to be involved in this, but to tell me that you don't have time for this is to tell me that you don't want to grow your business. To tell me that you don't have time for this is to tell me that you're absolutely happy where you are and you're not looking for any growth. That is what you're telling me at the end of the day. Okay. So the next class is going to be, or the next module is going to be on the offer. So we're going to do module 4. It's going to be the offer and the pitch. Okay. So I'm going to share something with you guys real quick. There are 2 documents that I'm going to put inside of school. Let me just share my screen real quick. Cool. So there are 2 documents that I'm going to put in school. This document here, bring it up to 200% so you can read it. This document here is the 5-question worksheet. It's about who, the problem, the solution, the outcome or KPIs, and the value. And down here is the freedom multiplier exercise. Okay. So this is what I want you to do. What fee will you be charging per client? All right. So now this is something, it has to be an average across or something that you charge. For instance, if you're a real estate agent, you charge 6% for listings and you're pushing to get 3% on the buyer side, right? But if you're in the title business, you don't really have a set fee. So I need to understand your average. Okay. What are 3 to 4 key qualities or resources a client must possess for you to achieve rapid results, given your compensation is contingent upon the outcome you deliver for them? So many of you in here are in sales, therefore you're on a commission-based structure, which means that you don't get paid until they close, which means that you need to understand what your avatar's pieces are that will help you get the job done. Because we all know we work with people that are not really helping us get to the closing table. We're doing everything in our power to get to the closing table, and these folks are just fighting us all the way up. So what are the 3 to 4 key qualities that your client, your consumer must have to help you achieve rapid results for them? Okay. Now, considering you earn your fee only after securing a successful outcome for your client, right? A closing. Okay. What are 3 actions you would take to ensure the value delivered surpasses your charge and to achieve this as swiftly as possible? So what does this mean? This means that what are the 3 things that you do to ensure, the 3 actions that you take to ensure that the value that you provide not only helps them get to the closing table, but surpasses what you actually charge them? Okay. Next piece. If you were to collaborate with an ideal client, one who possesses all the optimal resources, what is the maximum amount you could feasibly charge them while still justifying the cost? Now, this is a fake number, right? So this is all the other 3 things are perfect. Everything's perfect. You provide so much value that you go, you know what, man, with everything that I do for a client, I should be charging 10%, not 6%. I want to know what that number is for you. I want you to believe in yourself, right? And then I want you to come back up here and you're going to answer these questions. So remember, make a copy of this worksheet and then work on it. And then you're going to take the link, make sure that you can share the link with everyone, and you're going to post that in school so that we can do accountability on it. Okay. Complete the following worksheet, post in your school. All right. So who? Identify your ideal client. Problem, define the fundamental issue that your clients consistently face. Solution, what is the concise solution to the issue that you provide? KPIs, outcome, right? Describe the concrete and quantifiable result your method achieves for them, or list the key performance indicators you use to evaluate success. Value, determine the worth of this outcome to you personally. So what is your value? What is the worth of your value? Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, I want you to review this sheet right here. This is known as the offer outline document. This is something that we're going to be working on when we work on our actual offer, and this is going to be, so you're going to be looking at the problem, the outcome, the solution, justification, deliverables, timeline value, and objections you need to remove. Everything we talked about in this OMP right here is going to derive from this sheet right here. Okay. So those 2 pieces will be in there for you. Now, I understand that typically we have a class and then we do worksheets based on that class. This one is worksheets before class. imperative that you study these sheets and work on them and post them so that we can really dig into creating the offer in the next module and in our weekly trainings. All right, guys, y'all take care. I'll see you soon.